Hey, what do you say, boys and girls? This is Bobby Blitz from Overkill. I am in Porto, Portugal, and you are watching Steelworks.
Hello there, and welcome to the first installment of Steelworks. My name is João Correia, I'm 42 years old, I was born and bred in Portugal, and I've been listening to heavy metal music since 1988, give or take a year. Since then, I have been collaborating with both printed and online publications, and currently I am a writer for Metal Hammer Portugal. I've also been meeting plenty of bands and people that you might have heard of, from Dave Lombardo to David Vincent, Judas Priest, Suicidal Tendencies, Mastodon, Baroness, Soulfly, Suffocation, The Exploited, Obituary, really, you name it. Basically, everyone's that someone in our scene. So, the aim of this channel is to present to you reviews of upcoming records, concert and festival reports, video interviews, when possible, of course, and comments on news or the broadcast of breaking news, so you are informed of what's happening in our scene. Also, feel free to leave your comment below, hit the subscribe button if you like the first installment of Steelworks, and I still believe in word of mouth, so please tell anyone and everyone to pass by to watch the show, as everyone's more than welcome to join and participate. Finally, sit back and enjoy the show. So this first episode is split between Mgła's show report in Lisbon and the premiere of the European leg of the Overkill Killfest Tour in Porto, including interviews with Overkill and Flotsam and Jetsam. Let's start off things with Mgła then, which played in Lisbon on September 10. Until not too long ago, Mgła were the most well-hidden secret in the underground. 2015 gave us an album called Exercises in Futility, which is a record that caught everyone off guard due to its music structures, intelligent and philosophical lyrics, and a sense of emptiness that's rarely seen even within the black metal circle. Well, the band released this year Age of Excuse, and for me things got a bit uninteresting in the beginning, especially since I had so high expectations for it after Exercises in Futility. However, Age of Excuse has been on repeat ever since I got hold of it, and there are two undeniable facts about the record. One, it's a very complex work, and two, it's not suited to the casual normie hears. The show started off with Above Aurora, which is another young Polish black metal band that still has a bit to prove. I could feel some uneasiness from the band on stage, but by the third song, something caught my attention and it sticked. I will have to check a bit more from this trio to better judge their music. After that came Martwa Aura, yet another Polish band, and this time with much more experience. Their sound consists of a mix of a somewhat primitive black metal with some death metal influences, including solos. To be honest, they brought to the stage a whole lot more energy, which by then was in fact needed. It's not too bad of a band. I will also have to check their work so far, but I did like what I heard. Then came Mgła, and the pace changed dramatically. Not only was the sound crystal clear, the band's performance was really, really good. After the show, I actually commented with a couple of friends that I was not expecting such a display of professionalism. Some of the songs that caught my attention, again due to the perfection of the band on stage, were exercises in futility 1 and exercises in futility 3, as well as Mdłości 2, and then exercises in futility 4 and exercises in futility 5. It was easy to understand why Mgła are the hottest new thing in black metal town after the show, which was presented by Amazing Events. For those who don't know the name, Amazing Events are the organizers of Portugal's largest heavy metal festival, which is Vagos Metal Fest, a 4-day open-air festival that features the world's leading and classic bands every year. For instance, this year, the big names were Ginger, Candlemass, Aborted, Iron Reagan, 6 Feet Under, Stratovarius, Napalm Death, Death Angel, Satyricon, Watain, Hailstorm, and Ultimas. By this lineup, you can see that, well, they're very eclectic people, and it's a very eclectic festival. Testament, Erik for the Sky, and the Mighty Asphyx are already confirmed for 2020, so keep that in mind if you're planning to visit next August. Besides Vagos, the agency promotes shows all year long with big names. For instance, coming up is a show with Agnostic Front. So, yeah, we have a very good metal offer from January to December in Portugal at the moment. And we have already a few fests that are well established abroad. For instance, SWR Metal Fest, the Vagos Metal Fest I just told you about, and also Amplifest, for instance, and to name just 3. Check them out online if you can, and start planning your trip, as I'm sure you'll have a doozy of a time in Portugal.
Erik, aka Flotsam and Jetsam, and you're watching Steelworks.
And now for the Overkill Killfest, which took place in Porto on September 12. A bill with Overkill, Destruction, and Flotsam and Jetsam has to be the wet dream of any thrash metal fanatic, especially an old school one. Thrash is king in 2019, so much so that all these bands released critically acclaimed albums this year, so I wouldn't miss the show for the world. I was assigned to report the show for Metal Hammer Portugal, as Metal Hammer couldn't obviously miss the event, and everything was smooth and chill from the get-go. For instance, while the crew was assembling the merch stands, we could see Schmier from Destruction and even Bobby from Overkill taking care of matters, and also taking a couple of seconds to take some pictures with the fans. To be honest, this is probably metal's best thing. There's rarely any sort of stardom or some such. I took the time to make sure that the interviews would happen according to plan, went outside to meet a couple of friends, and not long after I was called for the first interview. So here's what happened with Bobby Blitz of Overkill regarding the state of the nation of thrash metal. It's been a long while since you hit the charts, so high. For instance, Switzerland, Italy, Germany. The thing is, even in the United States, you had four consecutive hits on the boards. Do you think this is basically the renewal of thrash metal?
No, I think it's our genius. I think it's a very healthy scene. I think that one of the things that keeps it healthy is the fact that thrash fans purchase physical product to support the music that they love, which I think is a great thing, which really keeps it alive. I mean, if you look at the formula for this, it hasn't changed over 3 decades, but for some reason, those who support it and those who love it want to keep it around. So I think it's a great testimony not to necessarily this band or other bands, for instance, but that of the people who love this and have made it part of their life or part of their fabric from day to day, decade to decade.
Okay. On the other hand, the Wings of War has seen the return of Overkill to more guttural, more heavy sound for the last, let's say, 15 to 17 years. How has the reaction been going in the United States, in Europe, regarding the album, both in terms of public and also in terms of specialized media? What's the reception been like?
Well, we're at a point in our career where we really don't care about how we present ourselves. We know what we are. We're going to present ourselves at a high level if possible. And that's the key to, I think, any success for any business or anything you love that you present. So when it comes to response, I think people pick up on that high level of presentation. The U.S. tour, for instance, was sold out, the majority of it. This has been a band that's always been able to tour the U.S., even when heavy metal was a dirty word in the U.S. We were still doing shows there. But, I mean, this was theaters. The last European tour had multiple sellouts on it. So, again, I still think it's a testimony to the scene itself and the health of the scene, that people don't want to see this go away, that they want to be able to experience it. Hey, maybe this is the last time. Maybe this is, this is something I grew up with back in the 90s or the 80s, and I still have the opportunity to experience it in 2019, which is a great testimony to its value, which to some degree is inspiring to me because I've always thought of it as valuable. I always thought of it as special. It's the thing that makes me go, like many other people. So I think it's a good time for us, for the Winds of War, and I think the media response has been generally great for this record. Not like, oh, it's the same old record. It's the same. I mean, you're always going to get the naysayer. No thanks. But I think the ones that hold it to their heart, like the band does, embrace it as something that is, let's say, a new piece of future history.
Yeah, because to be honest, and let's think about this, Destruction, which you are playing with tonight, as well as Flotsam and Jetsam, and then you released 3 thrash albums in 2019. I mean, thrash metal is far from dead, right? But the thing is, about the naysayers, people expect always more, Thrash metal is thrash metal. You're not going to, reinvent the wheel, yeah? But at the same time, it's a little bit far-fetched to say that, the genre is going through dire straits or something, no?
I totally agree. I think it's, again, healthy, at this point. I do think, to a certain degree, after this many decades, there's a certain formula. So the idea, I think, in the present day is not to necessarily take it to new places, but to write the great song and have the great song spawn into 2, 3, 4, maybe 10 great songs. Yeah. So it's about, I think it's about knowing what you are. Not necessarily saying, oh, we should be this or we should be that. If we have an identity crisis, we've ruined it. We've overthought it. But if we have, if we accept who we are and put the energy into making that great song, I mean, love it or hate it, there's still diversity on the Overkill record. There's Believe in the Fight. There's Last Man Standing. There's thrash kind of approaches to everything. There's Welcome to the Garden State, which is as punky as you can get, but played like thrash guys. Yeah. So have fun with what you're doing. Write the great song. Feed the scene.
And that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the final question is regarding what you are going to do after you leave tonight's part of the tour in Porto, Portugal. What's next for you in terms of touring, in terms of, for instance, are you planning to commemorate some old albums, some classic album in the future, in the near future? What are your plans?
I mean, it's funny. I mean, I always think of Overkill as, value in the present day. I mean, history is great. History has brought us to the present day. You can't forget where you've been to know where you're going or where you are. So commemoration is not something that we're partial to. I mean, we obviously did it with Field of Fire and Horoscope on live in Overhausen, Germany. But this was first and foremost a contractual obligation to be able to do a DVD. And we said, hey, everybody does a full record. Let's do two. The name of the band's Overkill. We should double it. So
I see what you mean.
Which only makes sense. But it was never our intention to commemorate those for the sake of doing it. Like, wow, what a great thing! But if we did two, it made it special for us. So what happens from this point is, in my opinion, business as usual. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Don't fuck up the formula by trying to jam other things into it. And we work on that clock where we record, we tour, we promote, we record, we tour, we promote, and it's worked for us, to this point. And I think the Wings have worked. Listen, it may not be the best Overkill record ever, but God damn it, man, it's up there. I mean, it represents 2019 for where we are, what we're about, and I think where the scene is to some degree. So I think 2020 will bring us much of the same philosophy with regard to how we present ourselves and approach that year with another record.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Cheers. The concert in Porto was the premiere of the European leg of the Overkill Killfest Tour 2019. Supporting the three main bands were Rezet from Germany, a veteran thrash metal band that also released Deal With It in 2019. The band is quite confident on stage and knows exactly what it's doing, which is nothing less than playing old school vicious thrash metal. After that, it was time for Flotsam and Jetsam and their newest, The End of Chaos. Their first song of the show was Prisoner of Time, which is clearly the strongest track of their latest record. Shortly after, they played the Iron Maiden, the cover by the homonymous band from the UK, with Erik Knutson telling the audience how much he loved the British band. The sound was perfect, and even the volume was well planned, not too high, not too low. The band also had the time to revisit such classics like Hammerhead, I'll If You Die, and of course No Place for Disgrace, one of their seminal hits. Michael Spencer on bass had everyone's attention, as one Flotsam of Jetsam's distinctive features is the bass that is accompanied by the guitars and not the other way around. It was a memorable concert and a sturdy comeback from the American Masters. But then came German powerhouse Destruction, and all hell broke loose. Their first song was Curse the Gods, which is one of the most famous speed thrash metal anthems of all time, starting with its immortal intro that the band uses to start off their shows. Unlike Flotsam and Jetsam, Destruction pumped up the volume a bit to make sure that the people at the back of the showroom could enjoy classic themes like Nailed to the Cross, and even future classics like Born to Perish, inspired by death and betrayal, all taken from their latest album, Born to Perish, which was released in August of 2019. As if the imposing vision of Schmier wasn't enough, the ever-discreet Mike did his job perfectly, as he was very focused as always. But I really have to highlight here the two new reinforcements of the German machine, which are guitar player Damir Eskich and drummer Randy Black, who brought a new vitality and even technicality to the classic sound of Destruction. After the new songs, the band returned to the classics with The Butcher Strikes Back and Thrash Till Death. In the end, Schmier asked, "Are you ready for the overkill? Do you want overkill?" And that was the hint for Bestial Invasion off of Infernal Overkill. I had seen Destruction live early this March, and they were quite good, so the least you can expect from them is a hell of a show, hands down. Finally, and straight from the Garden State, it was time for Overkill. The band started off with Last Man Standing, track number 1 of the new record, which ensued chaos, slam, and crowd surfing to welcome the guys. Hello from the Gutter was yet another song that talks about the hardships overcome by the band members, but the real classics kicked off with Elimination from the Years of Decay. The band also revisited albums like Necro Shine, always mingling old classics with new songs like Head of a Pin. At one point, Bobby addressed the audience. "I'm sorry, my Portuguese is not that good. In fact, even my English is bad, but my sign language is just fine," Bobby said while he flipped the bird to the crowd. It was time, of course, for Fuck You, the Subhumans cover, which is always one of the band's highlights. To top it off, the band ended the show with 2019's feel-good song, Welcome to the Garden State. Don't think twice and catch them live in Europe while you can, and expect nothing short of kick-ass. I took the opportunity to have a word with Erik Knutson on Flotsam and Jetsam, and this is what he had to say about the new record and the state of all things Flotsam and Jetsam.
The end of chaos is a little bit of an oxymoron, because it's not the end of chaos, to be honest. It's the beginning of a new chaos. Yeah, because both fans and critics alike have praised your new record, since it's refreshing for a long time for Flotsam and Jetsam. What has been the reception for you, in your point of view, from the fans, from specialized media, and what have you?
All the way around, fans, media, the band. It's really kind of a fresh new beginning for us. The songs turned out much better than we had hoped. Jacob Hansen did the mix on it, which was amazing. It really, everything just kind of fell into place, which was basically the reason for the name, The End of Chaos. Every album, every tour, everything we've ever done had some kind of chaos to it. And this new record has no chaos, really. Everything went very smooth. The writing process was a lot of fun and really amazing. And at the end of the chaos years of Flotsam and Jetsam, it could just kind of fit for us.
Okay. Could we assume that by introducing Ken Mary to the drums, can we think that he brought new energy to the new record and also to the band, to the members, and did he actually made that much of a difference recording The End of Chaos?
Actually, the record before, the self-titled record, brought a new energy to the band with Jason Bittner, and Ken Mary just kind of, I think he kind of fits a little better. He's a little older like the rest of us are, and he's from the same era of metal, and he plays just as well as Bittner, if not better, I don't know, but he fits very well with us. He's just as crazy as we are. He's got the same kind of weird quirks that the rest of us do. His personality fits with us very well. So it's I really didn't think he was going to be that good of a drummer until we got him in the studio and started playing, and we all just kind of jaw dropped, just like, wow, this guy is amazing. So, we're very happy to have him in the band. We're not ready to let him go anytime soon, so I hope he doesn't plan on going anywhere. But it's working out really well with Ken.
Okay. Well, that's because Jason Bittner, like you said, joined Overkill, which I wouldn't say it's a bit odd, but it's a bit funny that you're touring together. So, how is it, to talk to Jason? Hey man, but not as a member now of Flotsam and Jetsam, but of Overkill. No bad blood, I assume.
No bad blood. Jason will always be one of my brothers. I love the guy very much. He's always going to be one of my best friends on the planet. He fits in Overkill very well. He's from the same place in the U.S. as the rest of the Overkill guys. He's got the same personality, the same attitude as them. He just fits in that band very well. We were very happy to have him, but you know, things seem to change and work out better for us sometimes, and this is one of those times. It's working out much better for Jason, and it's working out much better for us. So it's just one of those weird change of lineup things that worked out for everybody.
In any case, it's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation. I mean, I'm sure that Jason had a lot to do with us even being on this tour. You know, he loves us. He's up watching our set every night. He's just a true friend and a real professional, and you know, I'll always have a lot of respect for Jason. Always.
Okay, this is our final question then. How is it going tour-wise, and what are your plans after the tour supporting the end of Chaos? Do you have something planned in mind?
We have, after this tour, we have a little bit of time off. We're going to start writing the next record. We have some one-off shows, one in Cancun we're going to do, which should be a lot of fun. We've got a U.S. tour next April we're going to start doing, and in between times we're going to be writing the next record, which we already have a pretty good start on. So not really a lot of touring plans coming up, but we've got some big stuff in the future. So.
Okay, but can you advance any info on the new record? I know it's pretty much premature. You're just supporting it. I know, but can we expect anything out of the usual, as we have always expected and received from Flotsam and Jetsam over the years?
You know, it's so premature right now in the writing process. I know we have. I've just worked on a couple of songs that I really, really love, but they're not right for Flotsam. So they probably won't make it to the record, but they're just songs that I listen to the chorus and I'm like, oh, I can't get this out of my head, it's amazing. But it's just not quite heavy enough for Flotsam, so we might do something else with it in the
side
future,
band, maybe?
Maybe, you never know.
Still premature as well, yeah?
Yeah, I like to keep Flotsam very busy, so I don't really have a lot of time for side bands, but you never know what's going to happen. We might put it out, you know, under a different name just for fun, something like that, but the songs we do have for the next Flotsam record are really, really cool. They sound like they should be on the End of Chaos record, maybe.
I'm not trying to squeeze the lemon, but I am going to squeeze the lemon. You know, the thing is, can we expect, I wouldn't say a second part, but can we expect a continuation of the sorts, maybe more heavier or something in the likes?
It's going to be at least as heavy. You know, we always like to put our little Flotsam twist on things. There's always a weird little jazz part here or a little mellow part here or whatever. So there's some of that. I'm trying to get them to write me a big metal ballad. I've always wanted to do a big metal ballad. So I'm trying to get them to write me one of those, but everything they've given me so far, I'm like, yeah, this isn't heavy enough. You know? It's hard to write a ballad that's heavy. It really is.
Indeed, yeah.
So we're trying that. Probably won't happen, but you never know. We're also working on adding some songs from previous albums for tour that we've never done before. So that's kind of in the works too. That's keeping us very busy. So I don't know. The new record is it's still a mystery to us. We've got some things writing, but you know, the last album we had 40 songs to choose from, and we ended up with the 12 that ended up on the record. So you never know. The ones we have written now may not ever see the light of day. You never know.
Nonetheless, you'll keep us busy as fans as well.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Always.
Well, thank you so much for the interview. I wish you safe travels on the road, and we'll be seeing you again very soon, I'm sure.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed the debut installment of Steelworks. Like I said previously, I will be trying to bring you fresh content and first-hand experiences with each new episode, so keep your eyes peeled for news, pictures, videos, and reviews on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Until then, horns up and stay heavy.